Here's a really simple way to explain all 4 attachment styles. What avoidant attachment boils down to is the closer that people get to me, I feel more anxious. And then anxious attachment is the further you get away from me, I feel more anxious. And even if you do get close to me, I still might not trust that I won't lose you. Okay, disorganized attachment. This one trips a lot of people up. The best way to describe this one is come here, no, go away. And then secure attachment really means that you can relax in relationships.
What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Ladies Pitch Podcast. This is your favorite mommy, Haydee Baby. I hope that you guys listening are all doing well. I hope this episode finds you well. I hope you guys are in a great mental space, are doing well with your 2025 goals so far, and your overall well-being, excuse me, got a little tongue-tied, is good. It is a very, very cold Monday night here in Connecticut. This will be a solo episode, guys. I am slowly but surely transitioning to being able to get over the fear of recording solo episodes. I don't know why I was just like so scared of being able to do this alone. And this doesn't mean that my girl Dory will not be joining me. She most definitely will be back soon. But for right now, I am feeling very, very creative, and I have to act on it, and I have to be able to have an outlet. Right? And this podcast has always been a creative outlet for me and will always be. So, since the last time you guys heard from me, nothing much has been going on. I've just been working on myself. That's an everyday thing. I want to thank you guys for the positive feedback on the last solo episode that I released. Yeah, a lot of you guys did enjoy that. I did get about 3 DMs regarding episode 171. Grieving is not a linear process. And it was due to people personally knowing me that listened to the episode and just wanted to say that was a great episode. Like, I knew how much your grandma meant to you, but I didn't think it was to this extent, and I appreciated the feedback. I'm very much open to constructive criticism as well. I was very nervous, I must say. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was nervous recording that episode because I am just super, I don't know. When it comes to being that vulnerable with people, it's a bit uncomfortable for me. So, just being able to just express myself and really, really be open about this journey that I'm on did feel pretty dope. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. In this episode, I wanted to tap into something that a rabbit hole that I fell down due to a therapy session that I had. And okay, so when you reach certain points in life, right, or when you go through certain situations, and for me personally speaking, I always like to reflect on the experience, right? Whether the experience was good or bad, I always reflect back on the situation, the experience, and try to gain some type of clarity, right? And try to, think of where things went wrong, where I went wrong, how I can improve myself, how I can be a better me moving forward. I really do self-reflect that way when things end. I go through different phases. I go through the phase of, being hurt. And then I go through the phase of okay, I have to provide closure for myself. If I'm not given closure, then I have to kind of just mourn the relationship, right? And then I go through like the last phase, which is like the final stage where I'm like, okay, how can I use this experience to better myself, to learn something new? You know, how can I become a better me, but also for the next person, right? So, um, just coming out of this last situation that I was involved in, I went, of course, through those stages. And I'm approaching 40 years old, guys. Like next month, I will be 40. And I was just like, after this last situation, I was like, nah, like I cannot, I cannot have another situation. Like I refuse to be in any kind of like situationship. Just, you know, pouring into other people, not pouring into myself. You know, I can't do that. I have to now think about what I'm doing wrong. You know, mind, you know, what that other person has done and what that person did to me, you know, take accountability for my part in the situation and how can I grow and move forward, right? So I kind of just went through the last phase of that situation, the end of that situation, and said, okay, I'm going to start by just going back into therapy, right? And that's exactly what I did. After everything took place, the end of the situation, after the death of my grandma, after all these other things that happened at the end of 2024, I said, I'm going to go back into therapy, right? Made that decision, best decision I made. Um, Therapy this time around has been so effective. And it's mostly because I'm doing a lot of the work once the session ends, because that's the true test, right? Because you can go to therapy for years. But if you're not using the tools that you're given in therapy, then you're wasting your time. You are wasting your time. Um, One of the first things that I decided to do was abstain from sex because I wanted to be able to go on this journey with a clear mind, clear head. I didn't want any distractions. I didn't want to confuse myself. I didn't want to take anything else on my plate when I'm not doing well myself mentally, right? And emotionally. So I decided that I was going to abstain from sex. I have no set amount of time. I really don't care for it. You know, I'm just going to go on this journey, ride the wave, and see what happens. Right. So, in therapy, we started to talk about attachment styles. And I've heard of it, you know, attachment styles, love languages. Those are all little like buzzwords on social media and things that people, you know, talk about. And they talk about their love languages and this and that and how they want to be loved. And, you know, I've never really like dove in and really researched myself or read up on it and really understood what it meant. So it started off with just kind of, you know, curiosity and bringing it up to my therapist and just kind of talking about, um, you know, the attachment style that I have and how I can work on having a more secure attachment style. And you know, she recommended. She was like, "Listen, look it up, research it. You know, um, write some stuff down, journal, speak, you know, speak with other people, find out what their attachment styles might be." So, me being me, that's exactly what I decided to do. And I started reading up different articles about attachment styles. I started looking up videos on TikTok. Um, Side note, thank God TikTok did not get banned. it's so informative. Like, I was just like, oh my God, like, when I want to look up certain things, shit, even recipes, like TikTok is not going to be around. But anyway, let me not get off track here. So I just started looking up different things, started informing myself, and just becoming more familiar with the attachment styles and more of my attachment style. Yeah, because one of the things that I've noticed in the dating pool, and I'm not currently dating, but this is just based off of friends that are dating, my guy friends, my girlfriends that are, currently in the dating pool. What I've noticed nowadays in dating is that craving a real connection with someone is frowned upon. And people actually take pride in being avoidant. The ability to just quickly cut someone off and self-isolate has become somewhat of a trend. And it's a trend that people are proud to brag about. When in reality, let's be real, it's just an unhealthy coping mechanism. It's just a way to remain safe when faced with difficult emotions and situations, and respectfully, you cannot claim to be fostering connections if you can't even communicate, But how can we expect people to have a healthy connection with love and affection if they were never really taught? How can we expect men and women to know how to communicate with empathy if vulnerability was frowned upon in the household? We speak on love languages, we speak on attachments all through our social media, but our love language really starts with our parents. So, again, this week I'm going to be touching on attachment styles. I have some notes written down. I did my research. I definitely did my research for this episode, guys. And I just want to preface by saying that I am in no way, shape, or form a licensed professional or a licensed therapist. This is just based off my own research, information that I have found, and based on, my experience and the experience of, the people around me that have trusted me throughout the years with, their dating stories, with their childhood stories and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, let's get into it. All right. So, according to psychologists, people exhibit attachment styles pretty early on in life, right? As babies. An attachment develops based on how consistent a child's needs are met. So if a child's needs are met inconsistently or unpredictably, they may develop one of several insecure attachment styles. So I'm going to start it off speaking on the three insecure attachment styles, which are anxious, avoidant, or disorganized, also known as fearful. So you're probably wondering, how do these attachments develop? I'm going to get into that one by one. So we're going to start off with anxious attachment. So anxious attachment is one of the main factors in forming particular attachment as a kid. Inconsistent care from their primary caregivers is the main factor. So people with anxious attachment, they seek closeness, right? They seek closeness, but they fear rejection, and they tend to become overly dependent on their partner. So they need like constant reassurance in the relationship. They need to constantly, be told, I love you, I'm here. It can be exhausting, right? Because they fear rejection and abandonment. So they tend to be very clingy in their relationships, which can make their partner feel a bit overwhelmed or very overwhelmed and smothering to be around. So a person with an attachment, with an anxious attachment style, tends to be very needy, very, very needy, whether it's man or woman. It tends to be the needy person in the relationship. The next attachment style is one that does not go well with a person with an anxious attachment style, right? Because now a person with an avoidant attachment style, they learned, right, as a child, that their parent can't meet their needs reliably. So they tend to rely solely on themselves, right? So they avoid interactions with their parent. They're uncomfortable with sharing or feeling emotions. They're uncomfortable with physical closeness and touch. So as they grow into an adult, an avoidant will tend to avoid emotional closeness. They'll avoid intimacy. They'll avoid deep connections in relationships, right? So any type of normal expression or any affection, any emotion, an avoidant will withdraw and detach from that relationship. They will go ghost. Ghosting is big with an avoidant attachment. A person with an avoidant attachment, they love to ghost because they are super, super uncomfortable with feelings. That's so unfamiliar to them. They don't feel safe. So they tend to just go into their safe haven, self-isolate, and kind of just, ghost the person that they're with. Okay, so a fearful avoidant, a person with a fearful avoidant attachment, which is also known as disorganized, is very similar to an avoidant attachment, as in fear of intimacy and the closeness aspect of it. But people with, I'm sorry about that, guys. All right, let me jump right back into it. All right, so a person with a fearful avoidant attachment, they have a fear of intimacy and closeness, but they also crave closeness, if that makes sense. They desire love, but their fear of intimacy and closeness won't allow them to form that healthy connection with another person. They'll have conflicting emotions about relationships, and they'll have difficulty trusting others, right? So most cases result of childhood trauma or abuse, will develop into a fearful avoidant attachment style. Like I said, they still crave deep connection. They still desire love, but they feel intensely frightened by it, if that makes sense. So therefore, a fearful avoidant, they can display traits of an anxious attachment person. And let me tell you something, like, they are big with the push and pull. That is a huge method that they use. So if you're dating a fearful avoidant, the push and pull method, the hot and cold, they are big on that. They are really big on that. And last but not least is the healthiest of the attachment styles, which is the secure attachment style. So as a child, when you feel safe, when you feel valued and understood by your primary caregiver, you tend to respond well to closeness as an adult. You respond well to intimacy because you were able You were able to use your caregiver as a secure base to explore your environment. So you feel safe. You're able to trust your caregiver to guide you. Um, you seek and find comfort in your caregiver, right? So all those factors contribute to a secure attachment style. So as adults, a person that's securely attached, they set healthy boundaries in their relationships. They set healthy boundaries, healthy limits. They're able to reconnect after a conflict, you know. They own up to their mistakes. They tend to own up to their mistakes. They're really good at taking accountability. They guide themselves to make right choices for themselves, right? They tend to go on and have healthy relationships. Now, that can be a bit of a clash if, a person with a secure attachment style gets with someone that is an avoidant, right? Because an avoidant is going to avoid all of that closeness that a secure attached person is able to provide in a relationship. A secure person is going to want to tackle things head on. An avoidant is going to want to avoid all of that vulnerability. They're going to want to shut down, ice you out, ghost you. They will never be able to tackle problems head on. They won't be able to. They have unhealthy coping mechanisms. As I said in the beginning, they like to, to ghost. They like to just be closed off. They feel safe that way. They feel comfortable. So a secured and an avoidant person, won't mix well. An anxious attachment also with a avoidant won't mix well. They're going to be constantly chasing. An anxious attached person will constantly be chasing an avoidant, because an avoidant will push away. The more you chase them, the more they push away. They're not comfortable. They're not comfortable with feelings. They're not comfortable with emotions, and that's not saying that they can't get there. Not saying that an anxiously attached or an avoidant can't become a secured person, a secure, can't become a secure, can't gain to be a secure attached person. Sorry, my mind just went foggy all over the place. But, of course it takes time. It takes patience. It takes a lot of self-reflection, researching, journaling, even meditation. Even meditation can help you understand, your own attachment style and its origins, reflection, reflecting on past experiences, and how the people around you influence your current attachment patterns. And, communicate. You have to communicate openly, express your needs, your feelings, concerns, and encourage your partner to do the same. That's going to build trust and connection, which is big in secure attachment style. Another thing that's huge: boundaries. Set boundaries, establish boundaries, respect boundaries in your relationship, recognize and communicate your limits. Be attentive. Be attentive to your partner's boundaries as well. It's not all about you, it's also about your partner. This is big. Also, develop emotional regulation. Learn to manage your emotions effectively. This is me. Listen, this is the number one thing that I'm working on, is learning how to manage my emotions effectively. And this includes understanding your feelings, expressing your feelings in a healthy manner. Also, being responsive to your partner's emotions, right? Trust. Build trust. Act in a reliable and consistent manner. Keep your promises. Be dependable. Trust is huge in secure attachments. Practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. It can help you be aware of your thoughts and your emotions, right? And when you're aware of your own thoughts and your emotions, you're able to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, which is very, very, very important in a relationship. You never want to say and do things that you'll regret later on and you can't take back, right? I'm sure that we've been there at some point where our emotions got the best of us and we said something that we didn't mean, or we did something impulsively because we didn't sit with our thoughts and our feelings and actually processed it, and it was able to effectively communicate those feelings, right? It's also important to nurture your individuality in relationships. Don't lose yourself. Develop interests, right? Develop personal interests, goals outside of your relationship, outside of your partner. It's very, very important. A lot of people lose themselves and, pour into their partner, lose themselves in the relationship. It's very, very important to nurture your individuality. You are also you. You are a person all on your own. You're not supposed to become your partner. You're not supposed to, suffocate them or just make them your whole entire world. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. It takes a lot of work. It does. It's not impossible. It takes a lot of work to develop a secure attachment. It's a gradual process. Yes, and it's a process that I am currently on, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of internal shadow work. It's a lot. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with your partner, most importantly. Always remember that. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be very, very patient with yourself. There are times where you're going to take 2 or 3 steps forward and you're going to take 5 back. No, you continue on this journey. You continue with the process. You be patient. You keep moving forward. You also have to remember that you have to always allow room for growth. Always allow room for growth. And most important, listening. That's the only way to grow, right? Sometimes we got to shut up, close our mouths, and open our ears and listen, right? This was a topic that I definitely wanted to share with you guys because I took a deep interest in attachment styles. I wanted to learn more about my attachment style. I wanted to learn how to grow into a more secure attachment style to, be able to be a better me for the next person, and be able to just have a overall healthy mental and emotional being, which is what I'm aiming for. Not aiming for perfection. That's not what, I never want to be perfect. I am grateful that I was able to experience the things that I have experienced as an adult, as a child. It shaped all of those things that I went through, shaped me into the person that I am now. It's shaping me to be a better person, for my loved ones, for my friends, for myself, most importantly. And I am I am very proud of myself. I am very proud of myself because I faced a lot of adversities, a lot of challenges, and I could have caved in and just been a terrible person, to people, and I've never allowed those experiences to mold me into just a bad person, you know? I've taken the experiences, I've taken what I've learned, and I've molded myself, or I'm attempting to mold myself into a better version of myself. So I've given myself a lot of grace. I am being very patient with myself, and I am most definitely happy that I'm able to come on this podcast and I'm able to share this journey with you guys and feel comfortable enough to share with you guys, because God knows it just takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to be this open. I know you guys are so used to me being open on this podcast in a different way and in a toxic way, and even though it's fun, not gonna lie, it's fun because that's something that I've enjoyed being for a very long time. And I most definitely will always sprinkle a little bit of toxicity here and there, for shits and giggles, for entertainment purposes only, of course. But this Haydee that's pushing 40 is definitely aiming to be the best version of herself. And I am super excited. I am just overwhelmed. And I am so fucking ready for 40. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, review the podcast on all streaming platforms. You guys already know Ladies Pitch is on Instagram at Ladies Pitch and on YouTube handle at Ladies Pitch. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the podcast on all streaming platforms. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. If you guys have any particular topic that you would like for me to discuss on the next, solo episode, let me know. If you guys have a topic for me and Dory to discuss on a future episode, do not hesitate to DM us. Thank you again, guys, for joining me. This is your favorite mommy, Haydee Baby, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace and love.